That's right. And you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Always do mic check. Anyways, I'm very excited to be here in Leeds. It's the first time for me. Welcome to my session, AVD versus Windows 365, where it actually works in 2026, lessons from the field. My name is Poppelgaard, and you can probably hear in the accent a little bit funny. I'm a Danish guy. I have my own company, Poppelgaard.com. I have for 13 years been an independent consultant, and I'm also English. I'm actually British. I'm British born in Oakham, which is 2 kilometers away. Yeah. And I lost my British passport when I was 21. Your government wanted me to go to the army and got a nice letter. And I sadly had to decline because I was 21 and I was like, blah. But I am proud and born here. And I was there yesterday actually in Oakham, spent an entire day there and see where I was born in my hospital, which was Rutland, I think, Rutland, yeah. Yeah, so I saw the hospital, saw the house where my parents lived. We lived there actually 5 years. I was 3 years old. My first language was English when I moved to Denmark. So I spoke English in kindergarten in Denmark. When I came, it was maybe a little bit weird for some, but I learned it. But it was actually my first language for a couple of years. But I'm Danish by blood, so my bloodline is Danish. And yeah, you can definitely hear in my accent, it's very Danish. Might be a surprise for many in here because I never told the story. I don't think so. People are like, what the hell? And I'm getting 50 here next month, so I'm like, surprise. No, I've been in the tech industry for 30 years, and I'm full independent. I don't have a vendor label on me, so it's all community-based. I'm also heavily into community. Spent quite a lot of time before in the Citrix user group Denmark. We had to close that down because of Citrix. Like you guys, we were not allowed to use it. They even threatened to sue us. They took our money. And then we started a new community, which was EUC Tech Denmark. We did that here, I think, 2 years ago. And we are stronger than ever before. And now we actually also, like you guys, inspired by you guys actually also. The name is a little bit, that's the Norwegian one they call EUC Tech, but I'm like, if we could do it around, it should be EUC Forum, but now it's called EUC Tech. But you never know.
The Germans took on it as well.
I know, that's good, but it's good. I like the EUC Forum. It's a strong brand. So anyways, we have an event one time a year in May. So if anybody want to go to Lego, it's actually the headquarters of Lego, the first Lego land. It's a nice place. We have it one day, full day. You can go take your family with you, see Lego land, Lego house. A couple of you guys have been there. It's a nice place. Yeah. It's a good event. Thank you so much. Of course not. We don't have, and it's also not free. You guys are way better. But we have actually next year, we have actually 10th anniversary, so we have it 2 days. So if anybody want to come to Denmark, it will be in end of May. You're more than welcome. So you can see I'm born here in Denmark, in Oakham, right? And I live in a city, if you come to Denmark, I don't know, anybody been in Denmark here among the crowd? Yeah, have you heard about a city called Aarhus? No. Have you heard about Copenhagen? Yes. Have you heard about Billund? Yeah, but nobody normal don't know Billund. It's middle of nowhere. It's only because of Lego. It's really like middle of nowhere. Anyways, Aarhus is a second city, largest city. It's a student town, and I live a little bit outside. So that's where I've been having actually my IT career actually started here. When I don't want to speak the long story because of time, but that's actually where I started my entire career. Through working at architecture school, governments, and also IT consultancy companies, and even building my own as an independent. Actually, my first company was with my brother called Brothers Poppelgaard Consulting, PPC. That was actually my first. So I started, and then I'm current as an independent as well. Right, let's talk about some of the other stuff, but it's always nice to talk a little bit personal. So, I'm pretty sure you guys, how many know about Windows 365 in here? Can I see some hands? And Azure Virtual Desktop? And how many don't know anything about these technologies? Okay, so maybe I don't have to talk about this if you are so well informed. But I still think it's an important one actually to talk about because it's all about options, right? So one company can be in a Windows 365 journey today, but where they might have workloads where Azure Virtual Desktop fit in. And it can also be the other way around, right? So it's all about predicting prices, predicting, consuming prices over time per month, year, right? That's what you do with Windows 365. Azure Virtual Desktop, it's more consuming, again, the prices when you need it, right? By time-based consumption or by also reserved instance. The problem about reserved instances is then you're committed over the time period. And when there comes new compute instances with CPUs, both AMD and Intel actually release new CPUs, they get better and better and faster, and even new storage. Then, that can be a good reason why to move up to these instances, especially because Windows 365 also is on a fixed amount of workloads. And there's actually a really, really good article that got released here by Go EUC a couple of weeks ago. I will show a little bit about what that is. I don't know if anybody read about that, but they go into the details of what is actually underneath the hood. Of when is it an older machine and when is it a newer machine? Because you actually get underneath Azure, there's you actually don't know what it is. You have to go and then look at the information of the VM type, right? And what kind of machine are you getting? Because Azure is fully controlling that. Now on the Azure Virtual Desktop, that is a little bit different. Because you are a little bit more control. Again, a good example is there's a new GPU that got released, which is RTX 6000 from NVIDIA. That one is not available on Windows 365 yet, but eventually it will be there. But it's just a way more different, expensive prices, right? So somebody in here, I'm pretty sure, where you want to evaluate Windows 365 with GPUs, you're like, oh, that's so expensive. I don't want to do that. I'm like, I don't want to commit 1 month, right? With the other one, with AVD, you can do that 1 hour, right? Spin it up, turn it up, and kill it. And that's why Microsoft also probably is not so interested, Jim Moyle, right, to give away free GPUs from Windows 365.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I'm actually really happy to hear Jim also talk about Windows 365 business, because I think that's actually one of the most unknown out here. So I was here last year in. It actually is a good story. A person who just stops actually working at Microsoft, but loves to Surface, but she thinks it's a very expensive machine. And I told her, why not just buy a Chromebook, and then you can still do your work on actually a business license. So it's a way as a consumer actually to start working very, very cheap with actually a machine that is not a Windows machine, and then do your highly secure work with your clients. I'm also myself is actually that kind of use case. So many, many years ago, when Windows 365 came out first, I did the same thing with me, because I'm a Mac user. So I also bought actually the Windows 365 business for many years. Now I use the enterprise because I like the Intune, I like the control, applying policies. But the business has a justification that can be used for even as a consumer or small business, not just only business, but also consumer, I would say. And you can deploy it quite easy from the M365 or speak to a good IT person who has some skills there. I'm like, it's not like super easy. They say it's like that, but it's not like, click, done, and a consumer can do it. I'm like, I would not tell my mom to say, go and spin up a Windows 365 instance. It's not that easy. But wouldn't it be cool if it was? Anyways, so we got a lot of flavors, and I think, with the new one, the Flex one, I got to get used to it because I'm like inside the console gym. It's still frontline. But I changed now also my slides to Flex. It is a really nice offering, and here especially it's good if you need it in a cycle like call disk. So I've seen actually out where I've been to some places where a huge amount of customers actually using this for call disk, for help disk. Or call centers where they have a lot of users coming in, and these cycles, they just work 1-2 hours, then they log off, another one go in and log off, right? So with the shared cloud PC, you imagine you had 20 or 30 people actually log in and into the machine. They can do that, log in, out, right? but you're just publishing one shitty application, sorry about the term, legacy application. Sorry, my bad. But if you understand what there can be many use cases for the Flex, because I see an intent where the majority of customers are choosing the enterprise, and you choose one SKU instead of looking at maybe we should use different SKUs for different purposes inside my business. And I think that's where now Windows 365 is becoming more complex, like AVD, right? There's so many choices and flavors. It's not simple, as Microsoft used to say. It's a simple, just spin it up and choose your SKU and go. Why it's also intended, why people say, I just want one SKU with good enough performance, and then we measure our, by just roles, and that kind of makes sense, but I'm like, what if you could actually save, let's say maybe 30% of your money for other things, right? And you could choose other workloads purposes for that. I think there can be a big potential for this, to looking into it and trying it out. Has anybody experienced with Flex in here in the crowd?
You didn't put your hands up for AVD.
So I really hope you guys will try it out, because I think it's actually one of the really, really great technologies out there. All right. Let's talk about AVD. So I've been doing AVD for me personally. I can tell about that right. So in 2020, I'm actually known as a Citrix guy for many years, and I guess I'm a CTP forever, because they just killed the program, and they didn't kick. Well, they kicked us out, but they didn't kill. We have a.
They didn't kill anyone. Steady, mate.
No, the award. But anyways, I was still Citrix by heart. But then when the pandemic hit, actually my workload went to a 90% workload, going from on-prem to cloud. That time was actually preview still. So I was very cautious, I don't believe really in what Microsoft is doing, even though I'm actually a Microsoft MVP in that product group in the Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, and RDS team. But when I was seeing, what they were doing with the blueprints, they actually had a real blueprint, a blue screen, a guy called Klaus, sorry, he was the architect, one of the architects behind it. And they showed it to us many years ago. I was like, that's going to change the world. Because they're going to make, for Office 365, that's what they're going to do for Windows. But at that time, you have to do it was a lot of manual stuff, and I didn't like it. But anyways, pandemic made us pretty much, I'm pretty sure, how many here worked with AVD in the pandemic? I gotta see some hands. Okay, so there's some hands in here. So myself, I changed, I think it was 89%. That's a lot. So I was actually the one where I worked primarily in the US and UK with healthcare and hospitals. But I was working for Denmark. And even here today, actually around 90% of my work is actually US, North America, even though I live in Denmark, which is kind of weird, because there's a lot of business in Europe and UK. So also that's many don't know is I've actually been part of the critical workloads for hospitals and your daycare, older people, where I moved Citrix environments to AVD. So yeah, you're welcome. But I hope that it worked. Nobody says that. It's actually something I never talk about. But since I'm here in the UK, I'm like, it's a good story to share. And it actually turned out good, because I'm like, when you do, the technology matured, Windows 365 separated as its own product team. And that was really bad, because then me as an MVP, I was not, they were separating us as MVPs, like Windows 365 MP, AVD, Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, and now they combined us again here, I think 2 years ago, which is a really good thing, because I see it as one solution. I've seen it from when they built it, and I'm happy Microsoft, they went back and saw we are now one product group. To be honest, that's actually how I also work with many customers, where they combine the technology. The user logs in, they get a Windows 365 machine. For other workloads, they open up legacy applications where they want to have multiple users on and connecting to a published application with a legacy application. Yes, you can do that with Windows 365, but there are still use cases. It's all about use cases. Let's say again, GPU, right? Here an AMD V10 GPU I have in my screen here, I connect to it. I do my daily work on Windows 365. when I have to do some graphics related stuff, it's not that often I do it, then I do that. Right? So it's a good example on where you can have really a mix thing of the technologies. So how do you actually start with the things? And the great thing is the native tools are getting better. Microsoft is definitely improving their tools. They used to be really horrible working with. Why people built tools, why Nerdio came and built their tool. Hydra built also their tool. There's a guy called Marcel Mauer, WD admin. Anybody work with WD admin in here? Yeah, so I was also working with WD admin. All my deployments, actually doing AVD for all the things I just talked about before, was actually with WD admin. And then I didn't do Nerdio. I did actually WD admin, the free tool. And yes, some customers, they're like, oh, it's not it's not a enterprise tool. Well, I'm like, it's free. Can you beat free? And it works, and it's really good. It's like really, really good. And it can scale. Now, the problem about that was like, oh, but it's just one person who built it. And that for some customers, yes, they freaked out. And then, they're doing Nerdio, or they were doing Terraform, or using other tools for that. The great thing is Nerdio then really grew and became, a mega company. Actually, I would say the number one deployment of AVD and also Windows 365. Well, definitely AVD. And that has changed to where it is now. If you look at Hydra, that's another product. So I worked a lot with actually both. And I want to circle a little bit back to that a little bit later. Why? When do you do what? So the native tools, I think it's really, really good if you are, let's say, a small customer where you just want to try out the technology. You can spin them up. And I want to show how easy it is. Let's see here. So is it too small? Maybe I should just zoom in a little bit. So we're all with us. It's good here from the back, right? Good. So how many work with this Azure Virtual Desktop? How many have never tried this work with Azure Virtual Desktop? Can I see some hands? So everybody work with Azure Virtual Desktop in here. That's a lot of people. Can I see the hands again? How many people work with Azure Virtual Desktop? I just want to make sure you're not falling asleep. Okay. And how many doesn't work with Azure Virtual Desktop? Okay. How many have worked with the quick starts menu? These quick start. Okay. That's good. So these quick starts guys are actually really, really good because you got the normal one where you can go up and spin up. I think they've done a pretty good job here with creating this quick start menu. Let's just choose here. Okay, south. All right, so here you see I type in my username and password for my local admin. I can assign a user. I can find me. And that's it. I'm like, this is freaking damn amazing what Microsoft has done. This didn't used to be so simple. And that's why I want to show you guys this. So for some use cases, and I was going ahead and deploying it. No, I have to click the create, of course. Anyways, I'm not going to wait until it gets created, but what I like about this one is here, for somebody who never tried it out, they just want to try to evaluate the technology, it's really, really great. You don't have to think so much about logical things. Just try it out and then destroy it after. So that's one way of doing it. They also have more the let's see here. So this one here, the Azure landing zone principle architecture, if anybody works with that, where you typically use the diagrams from Azure and build it all up, right? And then you can use the best practices from that. I am super old school, so I don't use this also. I'm like very old school. I'm so old school, I even don't use the new naming from Microsoft because they keep on changing like each second year. which is actually not so funny when you have named your entire Azure, and then you got like some stuff you can't rename, and then Microsoft, oh, you're not following best practice. But I'm like, yeah, but we did 2 years ago, and now you changed your naming. You know, that can be a little bit frustrated. But of course, I do follow Microsoft best practices, just one version back. Second best, yeah. Anyways, so I'm not going to go so much into the DevOps, but there is a way if anybody want to code, right, do infrastructure as code, then it's Graph APIs with Windows 365. For AVD, it's Terraform. Bicep is also quite popular, and especially ARM. So I'm like, it all depends. So I see actually a mix what I can share with you guys in the AVD environments I work a lot with, where customers have CloudOps teams where they use Terraform. And I really like that approach. I actually start working with it again almost 5 years ago. Super early on, I was involved with a customer who worked with Terraform, and then I saw and then Microsoft were actually building the stuff for Terraform for the AVD, and it became a thing, because when you can first deploy and version control, you're also doing full documentation of the environment, and documenting AVD is something a lot of customers are not doing out there, where you do it by code now suddenly. So when you do infrastructure as code, you get self-documenting environments. I'm like, that's I would say that's a reason why to actually do Terraform. It's quite common when people do AVD, where like, oh, that object doesn't work, we don't know, just click, it's super fast. Then when somebody changed, what did somebody change, right? If somebody breaks, oh, what about our entire region just went down, we have to create another one, another place. Again, this is where the code, infrastructure as code is much better to do. And you can actually combine this with Nerdio and Hydra. And why? Because so you get the flexibility of both deploying, managing with Terraform, and then you're managing more the supportability of the daily work with the users. That's kind of a different approach. So I've done it with several actually service providers and some companies who works with highly secure environments, actually in the defense area industry. So for them, they typically have like support level 1, 2, 3, which is what large enterprises have, right? So level 1, you just give them a console, which is very scraped down. They only get the support call in, and then they see typical the user, they go in and support them, look at how the session is running, and guide them through, right? Then maybe level 2, they can also do a little bit more advanced things in Hydra or Nerdio, and I'll show that a little bit how that is. And then when it gets more advanced, they want to do changes, then they do Terraform. That could be a way of doing it. Anybody doing that kind of behavior, Terraform combined with Nerdio or Hydra? Yeah, only one. I would like to see more hands too. Do you see the idea and purpose of this? So you give them a scraped console that actually is super badass for a help desk supporter. And let me show you how that actually kind of look. So this example here, I have my Windows 365. This is Hydra. I'm not going to go into all the details. Trust me, I can spend many hours. Niels knows I can talk a lot. Well, many of you probably do. But I'll be careful with it. So here, this is my Windows 365 machine. Let's just connect to it. You can see I'm not cheating or anything like that. Before we just jump in, right, so something that's really cool, and I do want to give a really huge credits for Microsoft doing this. They're doing a really awesome job, especially as a Citrix guy. They actually did a better job with location awareness compared to Citrix. They were actually the first to enabling this feature inside the Windows app, and location is a big deal. In Citrix, you have to do a lot of work with the different policies, and oh my God, it's just kind of a nightmare. And especially when you work with Azure regions. So imagine you are in Poland, but your data center is in France, and then all your search crap gets in French, and you're a Polish guy, you don't understand French. That is a thing. It is really a thing. So what do? You enable the location-aware policy it is a thing with Citrix, not just, and any kind of omnis anyone, right? So we get this location-aware context where we just want to see where am I right now, so I get my local language connecting to the data center. I don't want the data center's language. So here you actually just get it. Now, the reason why I want to show you guys why this is, there's some intelligent things happening behind the scenes inside Windows, and Microsoft is, they are the builders of Windows. Now they see the location aware. It is actually in Danish because I'm Danish, right? So it sees of your local language. Just close this one here. Go to Maps. Make sure your location service are enabled in your cloud PC direction. Learn how. Right, so it's kind of guiding you, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But I click down here. I allow it. I'm like, there's still a lot of steps, right? Let your Windows access to access your location. Oh, I said no. I was being the real user who don't read.
Did you click on yes? Yeah, definitely.
Let me kill it.
We're not going to ask again now.
Oh my God, okay. So this is a good example on where it doesn't do it, right? So, okay, let's just try to kill it again. Try it one more time. Otherwise, I have to actually go into the location. Service inside Windows settings. But it's these small things that what Microsoft does that actually makes the experience really, really good. So this is actually where my machine is right now. My machine is actually down in Germany, my Windows 365 machine, right? So that's what it sees. Well, like, why is it putting me in Germany? I'm not in Germany, right? Oh, okay. This was actually, the demo guides kind of failed me a little bit because I clicked the wrong one, and this is when you call the support disk, and the support disk, it goes in, they help you. Let's just quickly see here, location, so you can see where it is. Here we go. Location service. And then actually, okay, so I think a way of actually doing is restarting it, because I did it here earlier where I tested it. And it actually goes in, a prompt comes up, and then it tells you, please go in here, and then you click on it, and it actually goes in here. It tells the user to go in here. You open up the location service, right? Give access to the application. Close the application. Yes, there is help disk involved in these things. It's annoying, yes. Somebody got to do it. But that's why you create policies, right? You automate these things, which is so you don't get this annoying experience out of the box. And now I'm in Leeds. But it works, right? So I just wanted to sell my... It's pretty damn amazing what Microsoft has done here compared to working in Citrix, because this is not easy. I can tell you that, because I've done it a lot in Citrix.
What's your IP address? Is your IP address, what is my IP address column? Does that show you something different, or is it doing some other smarts to...
Yeah, that still shows you the virtual IP. If you're using the Microsoft hosted network, then you still egress you're in the encryption, so you still egress.
I can hazard.
If they're using GeoIP, then you still do get a...
You can still use IPIS, that's what you're worried about.
Could be a good way of skipping the apps, couldn't it? Yeah. VPN.
Yeah. Anyhow, no, what I want to show you guys, because I actually went a little bit off. So, like, why was he talking about Hydra, right? So, I go in here to my user sessions, my Windows 365. Go into my machine. So here can you see I have my machine, and this is pretty cool. So they have an agent actually that I have deployed on the machine. So let's see here if this works. really hope so. Okay, there we go. I'm like, this normal is just like that. And of course, when you show stuff, it's not like that. So here you see my cloud PC. What is running, it's Intune managed. It's a 2 core, I'm cheap. And there we go. So the nice thing is I can also see how the machine is performing and working. And I can take my Edge application, then kill it. Let's see here. Like I have a lot of Edge applications because each application is a thread. I think that's actually a problem. So let's try to open up PowerPoint instead. Oh my God. There's a lot of ads on that.
Get rid of it, yeah. Well, it's your load balance that you see here.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go back. PowerPoint, you see here, right? That I open up. I click terminate. If I click right, I go back, and it's gone, right? So this is like a nice support tool that you can go in and open up the threads, and you can actually kill process. Does it make sense? So I'm like, this is a pretty advanced stuff. Yes, some people use control up and other things. But again, I just want to show you guys a little bit how behind the things. Now with Nerdio, if everything works good, otherwise I'll do it the different ones. And Nerdio actually normal works really, really good. Let's just load a little bit. I have actually lowered down the apps service and the SQL to because I'm cheap and I don't have like unlimited credits, so I actually lower down my compute instances. So let's just wait a little bit until it gets ready. Let's see here. How much longer time do you have?
About 23 years.
No, because he said I had longer time. That's why I'm asking.
So you might have longer.
Might have, okay.
Yeah, coffee's at 10:35, so 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Oh my God, okay. I have not gone through my... Well, I skipped into the live demo. It's also better because I'm actually talking about the live demo. It's much better. So let's see here. Okay, while that load.
Ask a question while you're loading, or is that bad time?
So because I lower, okay, so let me give you a reason, because actually it's not Nerdio's fault. So I lowered down my app service really to the lowest and my SQL. And I did an upgrade of my Nerdio to a newer version, which is a huge one. And then it just takes time loading the stuff, right? So why the things is loading behind it, now that I actually don't know why. It should just load here, but I would say it's because it's just slow, because I'm too cheap. I'm like, it's really, really bad, and that's why I don't want to show this one. And let me show it over from another one where it's not cheap. Actually, it's performing as it should, which is like how it should be. So the real time, and I think this really it's pretty amazing what Nerdio has done. So Nerdio, how many people work with Nerdio in here? Okay, so that's a big bunch. And how many work with Insights in here? Okay, how many have not heard about Insights? Not. Okay. Anyways, so Insights is a great tool. You actually deploy its own SQL-owned app service and etc. So they also do it for an Intune and for the real time. The other components, they just grab the informations directly from Azure and then they expose them in here. The real time, the reason I like that one, it grabs the information from a PowerShell command that's running on each machine, and then you can see how the machine is performing. So you get kind of this kind of controller behavior, right? Is my state in a good health state, right? Green, red, orange. You can see how the machine is performing. You can see how the sessions are. If there's a session on the machine, if there's any applications working, and over X time period. So they're kind of like doing like a time mark and then look at the stuff. Now, real time, I want to argue against and saying a little bit challenging is this real time. I think it's more this is a Nerdio term, but it's not real time like I showed before with the Hydra, like where you're like that within seconds. I think they do this for each 60 seconds, right, or 30 seconds. 60, yeah. But it's still really great because what I like about, so Hydra doesn't show time over longer. They do it in a very short time, right? So that there you have to troubleshoot like right now. If you want to go back in time and see how it was performing, that's where actually Nerdio is the tool to do. They do a really good job. And if you don't have control of, I think they're doing a quite decent job and actually doing this. They also work with physical endpoints now, where they can do the same thing in here. So it's both Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, and physical endpoints. Another thing I think is really nice inside, let's see here. Let's just go into one. You know what, let me show it a different way. I have to show it in my own tenant. So they show more advanced real-time information that they're grabbing from the API in Azure, again, compared to Nerdio. So I'm like, that's where the tools are very different compared to what they do. Hydra is really, really good at just doing very simple, basic stuff like deploying host pools, managing users. But if you want to do like advanced things and you know, with Hydra you have to think still about more out the box. It's simple, yes, but you have to really think about what you're doing. And even scaling up your session host, you have to build that scale set how your machines are deploying, turning on, shutting down, where Nerdio is actually intelligent. So that's where I'm like, you're paying a little bit more for Nerdio, but in my opinion, that's also more in kind of integrated product. You get like intelligent, right? So I don't know if anybody looked at Hydra and Nerdio, because I work with both, right? So they are a product for each. I'm like, they both highly valuable products. But if you want my opinion, Nerdio is definitely the leader in the space. I'm like, no doubt and hesitate with it. But they are really competing against each other. The question is also how much do you need the stuff? But they have full integration with Intune. I think that's also one of the great things. And one of the last things they just have done here now is actually integrating into, let's see here what it is. They have integrated into Nutanix, right? So this is the AVD hybrid. I don't know if you've heard about that. So AVD hybrid is typical for customer who has a mainframe system or low latency applications they can't put up to Azure. And then you want to spin up these AVD hybrid on your physical servers in your data center. And instead of it has to be Hyper-V or Azure local, right? Then you can actually use, example, Nutanix or eventually VMware and Hyper-V and Sensor. I don't think so, but technically it would work. It would actually work. You could actually build a VM and Sensor right now, even Proxmox, and then you could do it. It would not stop you doing it. It's just even AVD hybrid. You could also do that from the native portals where you can in and do it. Now, one of the last things, just to because I am running out of time, is I want to talk about this one here. This one here will be, in my opinion, replacing, because a lot of the old GPUs in Azure has now been decommissioned in V6, if anybody worked with GPUs. Now there's the T4, there's the A10. The A10 is the most kind of common used GPUs out there with customers using GPUs. And I know my session, when do you use GPUs or not? I'm like, it all depends. For some workloads, CPUs are actually good enough for accelerating, and that's also because the newer CPUs actually does graphics rasterization inside the CPU. So that's why you should always test CPU and GPU. But if you have, let's say, applications with vendors where they're very vendor specific and says, I need a GPU that needs CUDA libraries, of course then you use NVIDIA. If you don't need CUDA libraries, you can also use V10. A V10 is more for game streamers. So like, that's why I'm saying there's actually quite many kind of choices in Azure where you can choose GPUs. Now this RTX 6000 Pro is available now. It's a very beefy one, so I think this is more, let's say you are Jaguar and Land Rover company and you want to get your designers up there and work in Azure, right? This might be the one. And now if they don't work so often, so give them a Windows 365. Microsoft will love you for that with the GPU, but maybe the use case might be cheaper actually running on this one here. But the prices is that. So it's $3 an hour. It's very cheap. Well, that depends, right? But it's 36 CPUs. It's 100. But I want to show you guys actually, because I never showed it here in this crowd, because this is actually a Windows 365 machine with a GPU, which is, let's hope it's not bad, the latency, because I tested it before. So let's see where we are. Can you guys see it? We're in Arizona. So that's where my machine is right now. But I'm able to work, which is pretty damn amazing. So I was known as the 86 3D guy, right? I was very early involved in that protocol, got developed in the alpha stage, so where I work with Citrix and implement at customers. And funny enough now, right, I actually now show here, because I'm like, Microsoft's doing a really good job at doing what Citrix done for ages. Like, here we are connecting to Arizona, and I'm not getting any lag when I'm touching it here and here. I'm like, it's pretty damn amazing. It is a beefy machine that I'm connecting to. 22 gigabyte GPU memory, only 440 gigabyte memory, and 36 CPUs. There are users out there who uses this as a minimum, right, where they have to work and process things fast, rendering. But I'm like, being able to be across the world and connecting is pretty damn amazing. Now, what I can show you, and I've done it before, I use my Apple Vision Pro, I put them on, then I connect to this machine, and I work in 10K. So I work in 10K connected to my Windows 365 machine, and that just blows up, the mind that you can do that. So you can do that.
That's your monthly bill, right?
No, what, yeah, 10K, no.
How do you find multi-monitor with this kind of stuff? Same sort of thing works.
So that's what Microsoft's, well, the one with the Apple Vision Pro, I don't think that's a supported state, but it actually works. So that's more me pushing the technology to see, can they do it, and they can do it. But they support, I think it's 4 screens they support with the NVIDIA drivers. So that's more like an NVIDIA thing, how much they're supporting. But yeah, like it's the one, I think that the one where it's amazing, because I use, now I know this is a MacBook Pro, but normally I have a MacBook Air. And then you can imagine, I put up a 10K, like a MacBook Air can do 10K, right? So it creates a 10K virtual display, and then it virtualizes the keyboard and all, and then direct that directly into the Windows 365. And then you get the local feeling. It is really, really impressive. That's possible you can do that. Because there's a lot of things happening. The one thing is the Apple state, right? I'm like, that's amazing they can create such a virtual big display. And it's also like this, the wide, right? They can create like normal and then like super wide. But yeah. And I think that's, well, because of time, I gotta respect the speakers. But yeah, you're welcome to follow me on Twitter, _Poppelgaard. Actually, I wrote that wrong. You're also welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions or anything on that. But yeah, thank you guys. Hope you learned maybe a little bit. Otherwise, you're welcome to ask me any kind of questions. But yeah, hope you have a nice conference.
Just the last thing, yeah.